Now, when you fly, do you choose SRQ, or do you drive to Tampa, Orlando, or some other airport in an effort to save money?
Yeah, why does it always cost more to fly from Sarasota? I did some digging, and you might be surprised. It's partly due to the fact enough passengers are still willing to pay the higher prices here. The seats are mostly full. So the airlines have no reason to lower prices.
Makes sense.
Here's more. When Helen and Joe Burkhart fly back and forth to their home in Rochester, they often fly out of Sarasota, but not always.
We do fly out of Tampa. It's probably half and half.
The Burkharts say they're sometimes willing to drive farther to save more money.
No, it seems like off-season we can get a pretty comparable flight. In season, it probably doubles.
But even though it seems a lot of passengers bypass Sarasota to save money elsewhere, the SRQ airport director says the airplanes are full leaving Sarasota, so airlines can afford to keep the prices high. So prices won't come down until enough passengers say, I'm not going to pay this.
Right.
CEO Rick Piccolo says, keep in mind, airlines set the prices, not airports.
So all this is basic supply and demand economics. You have a community up in Tampa that has about 3 million people in its catchment area. We have about 1 million. You have about 1 million down in the Fort Myers area as well, but there's no other airport close to them like there is to ours. So we are basically right in the middle of all this, so we're surrounded by 5 airports. So we're in a very competitive environment.
It is competitive. In fact, look at the very different numbers for the past year. Sarasota had about 1.2 million passengers. Fort Myers had 8.5 million, and Tampa had nearly 19 million. While Sarasota was down nearly 3%, Fort Myers was up nearly 3%, and Tampa up less than 1%. Even though it is a constant challenge to compete against Tampa, Orlando, Miami, even Fort Myers and Punta Gorda, Piccolo says, make no mistake, SRQ is not in a holding pattern. And that's not all. Piccolo says he's just back from doing some speed dating, not for himself, but for the airport to attract new airlines. He says ever since the government allowed 8 large carriers to become 4 back in 2008, now airlines that used to be losing money are making upwards of $1 billion a quarter. He says now the playing field is simply different. So now they're doing all they can to make the airport itself more pleasing for passengers.
We've just finished renewing the entire interior of the terminal and the exterior outside of the jet bridges, which is the next phase that's going to start now. We redid the entire curbside. We're adding shade parking and shade over the rental car areas. The runways and taxiways are in excellent shape. We've expanded our business holdings. The airport's debt-free. Would we like to see more air service like the rest of the community? Yes. But I have to remind the community that if you want a Tampa International Airport level of service, then they're going to have to change their mindset because you're going to need about 2 million more people here.
By the way, Delta is adding flights from Sarasota to New York this holiday season. The airline says it will start offering nonstop flights to JFK from Sarasota starting this winter. The flights will run daily December 21st through January 2nd, 2018. Delta's year-round service to LaGuardia will continue to run as well. So here's my analogy after doing this report. It's like having a convenience store next to a big grocery store.
Of course, okay.
We're the convenience store. A little more expensive, a little more convenient, but losing a lot of customers to the big boy next door. That is Tampa Airport.
I know for myself, I'm looking to buy some flights here in the next couple weeks, and I keep, weighing my options because it would be much more easier to go out of SRQ, but Tampa looks like the price is going to be a little prettier.
Oh, it's prettier, but then you have to drive an hour north and pay for parking up there sometime, or Uber, but anyway. There you go, 6:21 right now, still heading Good Morning Suncoast. 2 Florida teenagers rescued from the Grand